Summary: Astronomy K, Class 11. The Moon and the phases of the Moon. And we begin at the new moon. From new moon, waxing crescent. First quarter, waxing gibbous. Full moon, waning gibbous. Last or final quarter, waning crescent. Blessed love. And I do say blessed love to each and everyone. Welcome once again into the Tiger's Nest. The Honorable Priest Isaac here with you, glorifying and giving thanks to the Almighty in all doings and saying, we give thanks to the Father and the Mother of creation, glorify Emperor Haile Selassie first. Give thanks to Empress Menen, 2nd of November 1930, such coronation of life. Of course, this evening we're going to just have a presentation as it deals with our brand new publication, Being the Heavens Declare the Glory. What you just saw a moment ago was really just a summary of our homeschool, one of our homeschool, international homeschool classes, as that subject area being astronomy, as we also do the African history and heritage. But of course, you got all the information right there. Email priestisaac27@gmail.com if you desire more information as it relates to our international homeschooling program that is definitely going on throughout the earth even as we speak. But yes, this evening I want to touch upon, pardon me, God's message in the stars. We're just going to take a few moments to do that. And as I said, we will be highlighting the brand new book. Here it is once again, the brand new ebook. This is our brand new electronic book, The Heavens Declare the Glory, Rastafari and the Cosmos. And, as we just, maybe take a quick run through it, giving you an idea of what is inside. And you see certain quotations here from Revelation, and a woman clothed with the sun, and the moon was under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. Sun and moon and stars. So I mean, it is really ludicrous for us to believe that the Most High doesn't have the message of eternity written in the stars, in not just the stars now, but the planets and the movements of the heavens and the earth as well. And even in the book of Job, chapter 38, verse 31, it shows you here, canst thou bind the sweet influences of Pleiades, or loose the bands of Orion? And these are biblical scriptures, but really the book that we have brought forward is not really trying to validate or in some way, yes, validate the Bible using the heavens. We just use the Bible to show that in the Bible, as well as other writings, you could see the correlation with what is already written in stones or written in the stars in the heavens. And this is what we do in this book. So you get a quick run through of it. The heavens declare the glory. You see the different chapters highlighted there for you. This is Psalms 19. We highlight the 19th Psalms. The heavens declare the glory. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. And day unto day uttereth speech, night unto night showeth knowledge. There is no speech or language where the voice is not heard. So when you comprehend that, the scripture itself, the Psalms now is showing you that the heavens declare the glory, the firmament, the movement of the stars and the sun and everything. And we have to highlight that, because many of us who consider ourselves to be Bible believers, at the same time, we run from the heavens and act as if the heavens has no part to play in the whole aspect of prophecy and just the fulfillment of life. When we're all stardust, when we're all star beings, all of our ancient cultures, pardon me, speaks about coming from different galaxies and different areas like the Orion Nebula and the Sirius constellation area and of course Andromeda. You hear the Dogon people speak about that, and other people speak about coming from different atmospheres. Now you may not want to believe that, but how long have you existed as a spiritual being? I don't mean how old you are. As a spiritual being, how long do you think your spirit existed? Just try to think of, give it a number. Even if it's 10 billion years, think of something. You must understand this planet Earth was not always here, and it's not going to always be here. According to science, I mean, the sun itself is going to have a heart attack someday. I mean, without the sun, nothing's going on here. So when you comprehend, the reality of life, if you are a person that understands or comprehends that your spirit is not the physical, I mean, they work together, of course. This is where the science of reincarnation now would come and raise its head, because the spirit is eternal, the soul is eternal, the physical come and goes, come and goes, come and goes, come and goes. So we live in a world that's caught up with the physical, and yet still we don't even take care of the physical that we are so-called caught up with. It would be good if we were really caught up with the physical, then we would nourish the physical properly, so it gives a good house for the spirit. So your spirit is ageless, but the spirit always manifests into flesh. And there are different places in the galaxy and in the universe where life can exist. So that's just a next subject all by itself. But what I just want to touch upon again as we go into the book, this is the heavens declare the glory once again. And basically how we begin the book, we go into the academics of astronomy, really, especially as it relates to the zodiac belt, which is astrologically the zodiac belt, but astronomically the ecliptic belt, basically the same thing. And this is the ecliptic belt. You could see it here, the different constellations, plus what would be considered their sign: Scorpio and Libra and Virgo and Cancer and Taurus, the bull, and Aries, the ram, and Gemini, etc. So these quote-unquote 12 constellations really make up the zodiac belt, and they are the constellations that the sun and the moon and the stars and the planets, pardon me, the sun, the moon, and the planets would pass through, in their due season, obviously. Now, again, we began the book speaking about the academics. This is how the book is laid out. So before you go into exactly what you're seeing in the heavens and how it relates to prophecy and all of these different things, and history as well, what we do, we actually, again, go into the movements, the astronomical clock. We give you at least, if you want to say, a crash course, really, of exactly why the sun appears to rise and why the sun appears to set, and why the moon and the sun appears to be the same size, and how you could have an eclipse, and these different little things. Let me just give you a quick sneak preview of that, really. Of course, you should get a copy of the book, really, but we go a bit into that. And Here you see the actual eclipse. And obviously this is to show you that the sun and the moon are far apart from each other. You know, they're ones that would believe that the sun and the moon are the same size, you know, and they're just somehow spinning around some sort of different way. Okay, it sounds nice, but if the sun and the moon was the same size, they wouldn't have an eclipse like that. No, they would actually crash into one another and explode. You know, they can't even just barely go in front of each other, you know, but it's because of the distance of the sun in comparison to the distance of the moon from the sun and the earth, and their size obviously brings out the impression of what we get when we get an eclipse and these different things. But again, in the first chapter of the book, we basically go into that properly. So when you go into chapter 2 and you continue the book, you get a better understanding of everything. So basically, as I said, I know you'll get the book. All you have to do is to contact us, email priestisaac27@gmail.com. So now, here we are looking at the zodiac belt constellation of the 12 constellations. Let us just say 12 for the moment, because even in the book, we take our time to explain the difference between the 12 and the 13 constellations, understanding because there are 12 gates. I know we'll argue that there's really 12 zodiac constellations, and I understand what you're saying. Again, in the book, we break it down to a next level. But there are 12 energy gates. The 13 constellation, which you're speaking of, which is obviously the serpent holder, shares the same gate as the Scorpio. So if you are of the sign Scorpio, you're technically of the sign of the serpent holder. That's the reality. You know, that's just reality if you understand the astronomical aspect of it. So with the 12 constellations in the zodiac belt, keeping in mind that the sun and the moon and the planets utilize these 12 constellations. They don't go out of these 12 constellations in their movement. That's the whole science of how it's created. So when you look at the mystic now, of course, you know the constellation known as Virgo. Here she is, Virgo the Virgin. Real constellation. She's beautiful in the heavens. When you look up, it looks like a woman laying on her back. So we highlight in the book, just as Revelation says there, that in the heavens there was a woman and she was in travail, you know. It says here, and there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And she, being with child, cried, travailing, you know, giving birth, to give birth, and pain, and to be delivered. And there appeared another wonder in heaven. Behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his head. And his tail drew a third part of the stars of the heaven, and it cast them to the earth. Stars of heavens, you know, cast it to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. And she did brought forth the man child, and it was caught up to heaven, etc., etc. So this really is the woman. This is the constellation of Virgo. As you could see her here lying on her back. And when the sun passes through her around the time of September, you actually see the sun coming out of her, as if a sun is coming out of the womb of the woman. This is the high science here. Now, Virgo, the Virgo constellation, you see her here as well. Here you see the Virgo constellation. She's actually, as I said, she sits on the equator, the celestial equator. So when the sun is in Virgo, at least in the southern hemisphere, is the beginning of spring. It's the blooming of flowers, you know, new life. So she's important there. Now remember, Revelation says that this woman was laid on her back in travail, just as how Virgo looks here. And she was clothed with the sun. Again, in the first chapter of this book, we explain how the sun moves as it relates to the seasons, as it relates to its monthly movement, the different constellations that it would be in depending on the month. We even speak about the whole aspect of the ages, so you get at least a good basic understanding coming out of chapter 1 before you go into the rest of the book, which is very important. So the reality is now that during the time of September, you know, the time of what you know, you would consider fall or autumn in the northern hemisphere. In the southern hemisphere is really spring, and you would see the sun. If you could see the constellations in the day, you would see the sun basically almost impregnating the woman here, literally coming out of her womb. So she would be clothed with the sun. Again, the academics being that the moon itself now, in its movement, every month the moon will pass through the Virgin constellation. In fact, the moon passes through every zodiac belt constellation throughout every month. That's why it's a month, M-O-O-N-T-H, moon, month and moon go together. So really, but the sun, you know, once per year, it will be in the Virgin constellation. That's how the whole year thing is put together, 365 days, etc. So the sun coming out of the Virgin constellation, remember the Virgin constellation, again, she was clothed with the sun and the moon was under her feet. So at some time she will be clothed with the sun and the moon will be right here under her feet. It's just science. That's what John the Divine said. He looked up into the heavens and he saw this, you know, and she had a crown on her head. So if you just look at the zodiac belt constellation here, it looks like a crown. It's a crown. It's circular with 12 constellations. As Revelation says, she had a crown on her head with 12 stars, basically, which are again the 12 constellations, of which she's basically the beginning of. She's not just one of them. She is sitting on the celestial equator. Again, this is why, you know, the science of the whole astronomical clock is very important as it speaks to this whole subject area. So this is why after that, now just giving you a quick preview, you know, just a quick run through here. Don't worry, this is just the beginning of the book. You know, you definitely can contact us to go through the rest. But after that constellation, you come to the constellation of Libra. So when the sun comes out of the Virgin, when the sun comes out of Virgo, it actually goes into the next constellation, which is Libra. And as we highlight in the book, Libra represents the balanced ruler. This is why Libra is a scale. If you notice, Anpua, Anubis has his scale. Ma'at has her scale. Even the European version of Michael the Archangel has its scale, because the scale is symbolic again of the ruler, the balanced ruler. So this is why Revelation says that the woman that was in the heavens, she was to give birth to a balanced ruler, somebody that was to rule with a rod of iron. She was to give birth to the scales. Huh? The scales is symbolism here, man. The heavens declare the glory. Don't lose touch of none of that. The heavens declare the glory of the Most High. So this is what is happening. That's why the sun, even in the first chapter, again, I have to show you the importance of the first chapter. That is why in the first chapter we take time to express the importance of the sun biologically, and why many different cultures hold fast to the sun, especially in a theological aspect. So the sun itself is key. That is why the sun is passing through these constellations. We're not just picking constellations out of the 88. We're looking at the path that the sun takes. And after the Virgin is the scale. After the Virgin is the balanced ruler. After the Virgin is he that shall rule with the rod of iron. You know, and that is why the constellation after the Virgin here is this constellation Scorpio. The scorpion that is standing before the scale. If you read Revelation properly, it says that a dragon stood before the woman to devour the man-child as soon as it was born. And remember, this is the movement of the sun. So I'm just showing you that little bit. Obviously, I didn't come to read the book. Just giving you an idea of the high science that exists within the understanding of being the literacy of understanding how to read the heavens. People say, oh, he's illiterate, but in what language or what subject area? You know, you're ignorant. Yes, but yes, everyone is ignorant, but ignorant of what? So some people will say, oh, he's illiterate because you can't write or read English or French or whatever. But how many of us can read the heavens? How many of us can read the stars? King Emmanuel says a man shall come that can read the stars. You understand? I'm just telling you what the elders tell me. So I am honored that I could be in a position to put even a manuscript like this together. There's much more than this. I explained the fullness of going around the whole zodiac belt constellation. We have the chapter directly dealing with Osiris becoming Orion, and how the emperor fulfilled that as it relates to the heavens and the movements of the heavens. And this is something, let me also just share this with you, keeping in mind that this book itself, this is The Heavens Declare the Glory, coming out of the Priest Isaac's Institute of Holistic Knowledge. We still have the special open for everyone. Remember that this book now, the value of this book, well, not the value, but is going for $20 United States currency, but for a limited time, but the time is still there. We will be also offering the True Biblical Land of Israel, which I know many of you are familiar with, the True Biblical Land of Israel, and of course the book Anu, Ancient and Modern, a book that is becoming, even more important as time moves on. I'm telling you, the book Anu, Ancient and Modern, where we definitely take time, yes, to highlight the spirit of Antigua, but to really go into the mystics of the megaliths. Don't overlook this book any slight way. We're talking about ley lines and talking about sunken cities and pyramids under the ground. So check out the book Anu, Ancient and Modern if you have not received a copy of such. And again, remember the whole aspect of the True Biblical Land of Israel. This is the book which we issued the challenge from, the book that goes into the whole aspect of the true land of Israel according to biblical description and of course the expansion thereof. But the point is, you could check this book out, the True Biblical Land of Israel. I am saying that each of these books really go for a value of the 20 United States dollars currency, but for a limited time, and the time is still going, when you order, not when you order, you could order The Heavens Declare the Glory if you desire. And as I said, that goes for the same. But if you desire to take up the offer, you would get the 3 books, the 3 electronic books. That's The Heavens Declare the Glory, the True Biblical Land of Israel, and the book Anu, Ancient and Modern, for a value of only $50, and that will be United States currency. So you're getting the 3 books, for that. Plus, plus there's more there. Of course, I know you all know that we do a nightly radio program entitled The Shock of the Hour, the nightly radio program entitled The Shock of the Hour. So what we'll be doing there, we are also giving the shock of the hour as well. One will definitely get a whole month's worth of the shock of the hour when you actually take up that specific order there. Not just when you order the book, but when you take up that offer there, I should say, of the 3 books. Again, that is the True Biblical Land of Israel, that is the book Anu, and of course, the brand new book, The Heavens Declare the Glory. And let me say, The Heavens Declare the Glory definitely will open a whole different understanding and comprehension of theology, because what you're getting when you go into the book The Heavens Declare the Glory is astronomy meets theology. I don't know about you, I have a high respect for the Great Pyramid of Giza. I don't think there's anything on the planet that has been created or even written on any paper, papyrus, or even any glyph that can compare to the Great Pyramid of Giza. I'm serious. I know people, religious people, get hit up at Ark of the Covenant, all of these things there. I don't see nothing that can compare to the science of the Great Pyramid of Giza, that is called the Pyramid of Khufu, and some call the Pillar of Enoch. The only thing in my book that surpassed that is the heavens. If you can read, not just the zodiac belt and the sun is in this and the sun is that, that's kindergarten, straight up. I'm talking about understanding the mechanics of the heavens, every single star, light years and pulsars and quasars and everything, the movements of the heavens. that is really the dynamic field when you could, put that in its order. So definitely, as I said, you would be getting a full month of the Shock of the Hour radio program. The Shock of the Hour, if you don't know, again, is a program that comes every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. It is basically more information and more inspiration, of course, at just a next level than what you may be getting here on the YouTube. And at the same time, the Shock of the Hour, again, is a program that we send to your email, right in your inbox. You get it after the program is being recorded, and it's there for you to put in your own archive. So you get a full month of the Shock of the Hour, plus you get the 3 books, and that will be at the value of $50 United States currency. So you just contact us for more information, and we'll definitely, fulfill such a mission of giving you more information. Yeah, the heavens declare the glory. You could just see fullness of the design here, and the glory being, declared, in the name of the Black God himself, Emperor Haile Selassie I, in all doings and saying. Give thanks. As we always say, if you know your Bible and you do not know your history, the knowledge of your Bible will become a mystery. Blessed love until we touch base again. Holy Emmanuel I, Selassie I, Jah, Rastafari, blessed love. Summary: African history / heritage. K, class 11. Ancient Egypt, also known as Kemet, Tamari, is located on the northeastern section of the continent of Africa. According to some historians, the history of Egypt stretched as far back as 3200 BCE. It is the Nesut, known as Nama, which some refer to as Menes, who united the two lands, Upper Kemet and Lower Kemet. Some historians and archaeologists think that he is the Scorpion King. Blessed love.